Regan Slaymaker for International Boxing News, and I have the pleasure to be joined by Joshua Frankham. Josh, how are you today, mate?
I'm all good, thank you, pal. Yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. I mean, exciting fight week for yourself this week. But before we get into it, I've done a bit of research into yourself before this interview, and I've realised that in your amateur career, you won four national titles in your amateur career. Please add
Yeah.
any if I've missed any out. But how do you look back on your amateur career before you turn pro?
I had a good amateur career. I've done everything I sort of wanted to do. I never went in the seniors, which I probably should have had a go now, but is what it is. I had a decent amateur career. Boxed for England a few times, won a gold medal for England. So yeah, I was happy with it.
Perfect, mate. And now you turned over pro, signed with Frank Warren and Queensberry. All of your fights have been on kind of the biggest stage as well. I mean, what's it been like? Obviously, not many fighters have that opportunity to turn over with a promoter and stay with them for as long as you have. What's it like being promoted by Frank Warren and Queensberry as well?
Um, Listen, it's a good experience. To get on all these cards that I've got on. I fought on some pretty big cards. Dubois, Joyce, Yard, and Beterbiev, and I think Sonny Edwards world title fight. I've been on a few good cards. So listen, just thank you to Frank and the team for always putting me on these big shows.
Definitely, mate. And talking of kind of big shows or big fight nights, you're fighting on Friday. But what is particularly exciting is that yourself and George Davey have found yourself in kind of a 50-50 clash that a lot of people are talking about as well. Obviously, you might not say it's a 50-50 clash as well, mate. But why was it kind of the right time for yourself to take this fight? Obviously, you're both undefeated. You're both with Frank Warren. Why was it the right time for yourself?
Uh, I just think, listen, it's what you're in boxing for is to challenge yourself and fight the best and try and be the best you can. So I'm pretty sick of fighting the same people, gentlemen. No disrespect to them, but pretty sick of fighting them people who bringing no challenge. And I'm fighting George Davey now. He's coming to win, so I'm expecting a good fight. Just think it was the right time. You know what I mean? We're both pretty similar. 8 fights. I think he might have had 9 fights. So it just looks the perfect matchup.
Definitely, mate. It's definitely the perfect matchup on paper. But what do you know of George Davey? Kind of obviously, I imagine your team have watched the tape and things like that. But what do you know of George Davey going into this fight?
I don't really know a lot about him. And really look too much into it. Fight to fight at the end of the day. Every man's the same. They've all got 2 arms, 2 legs. I don't really look much into it. I let my team do all that. I know he's going to be game. He's going to be coming to win. Fair play to him for taking the fight.
Definitely, mate. And now I want to move away kind of from your fight on Friday, and obviously best of luck to yourself. But the
Thank you.
the Frankham family is kind of steeped in a history of boxing, or as I said, I'm doing my research. So just the first thing I want to talk about is your uncle John, former British light heavyweight champion. But not only
Yeah,
that, he fought Muhammad Ali, but not only did he fight him, he knocked him down as well. I've got the photo up in front of me. I'm going to put it on the screen as
yeah,
well
yeah.
when I upload it. But kind of, how amazing is it to kind of think to that moment? Obviously discuss that with obviously friends and other family members. It must be quite special, no?
Yeah, listen, my Uncle John, he sort of led the way for all of us. He was one of the um, first successful travellers in boxing to go and win a major title. So he led the way for a lot of people, not just myself, not just my family. So if you look at like when Billy Joe walked out to Canelo, he had Michael John's photo behind him. Not many saw that, but there was a big photos of all the famous travelling fighters, Tyson and my Uncle John, and I think I can't remember who else was there, but he was there. You know what I mean? So that's how much he means to travellers. Um, so yeah, come from a pretty good fighting family, and it's good to look back on, especially that photo, like you said, with Muhammad Ali. Brilliant photo.
Definitely, and I'll make sure to put it on the screen, obviously next to you, mate, because it is, it
Yeah,
is, it is it is a nice one as
very
well.
good photo.
But
Yeah,
but not to mention your uncle as well. But your cousin is a little unknown fighter called Tyson Fury. Obviously, he's going into kind of two huge fights, one against Francis Ngannou, and then it's announced that he's fighting Usyk as well. I mean, obviously, this you might be bored of these questions, Josh, but kind of what has there been any kind of particular advice that Tyson's been giving you, obviously turning over professional?
I speak to Tyson a lot. He's a good pal of mine. And if ever I need anything, I always ask him for advice first. Obviously, there's no better man to ask for advice. He was the first man to say, "Listen, turn over." He put me with Frank, so I'm forever grateful for that. Um, yeah, listen. Whenever like I said, if I ever need to ask him about anything, he's always the first person I ask. So it's good to have that backup if ever I need it. And he's got, like you say, 2 big fights coming up himself.
Definitely. How do you see, obviously, kind of the Fury and Ngannou's kind of split opinions, obviously in the boxing world, but I think Fury Usyk's the one that's going to entice everyone kind of back into it. But what are your opinions on kind of both of those fights, and especially the undisputed clash between Tyson and Alexander Usyk?
The first one in Ngannou, listen, money talks. I don't care what anyone says. They're in boxing to earn a few quid, and good luck to him. So I hope he earns as much as he possibly can. And like you say, listen, Ngannou's going to be coming to have a go. I wouldn't want a big 20-stone man coming at me to throw big hooks, and the man can punch. So regardless what anyone says, it's still going to be a challenge to beat that man, which I will think he will do comfortably. And then moving on to Usyk, I think it'll be Tyson's easiest fight. Not a lot of people will agree with that, but I think it will be.
Perfect. Well, we look forward to seeing that one. And my final question, Josh, again, thank you for giving me your time today. We ask everyone this.
Thank you
And
for
I'm
having me
gonna
on, mate.
no worries. And I'm gonna kind of change up this question a little bit. I have obviously you spoke about how much kind of not only the history of the Frankham family, but also kind of the history of traveller fighters as well. Kind of,
Yeah,
and I'm asking this because I've read Andy Lee's book, which is I think
yeah.
is a great read, and it highlights kind of the kind of the prejudices that kind of travelers can face when going into boxing as well. It's really interesting. But kind of what does boxing mean to you, and how does it feel to kind of carry on the Frankham name within boxing?
Boxing, listen, like you say, it's bred in travellers from a young age. You know what I mean? It's either boxing gloves and you're chucked out, and every young traveller you always see they've got a pair of gloves and they're always throwing hooks or doing something. So it's always just bred into you. So listen, boxing's everything for me at the minute because I'm trying to be the best I can. I'm trying to win some titles and do like my Uncle John done. You know what I mean? And just live, keep the name going. So it's going to be a challenge to try and do that, but I'm going to try my hardest and give 100%, and we'll see where it gets me.
Definitely, mate. Well, we look forward to seeing the journey. And Joshua Frankham, again, thank you for giving me your time today, mate. And best of luck on Friday night.
Thank you very much. Tune in Friday. Another win for the Frankhams.